So hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a long time. It's been almost a month since we have uploaded a video. Thank you very much. And we have crossed 200 subscribers and
Yippee!
and that is all because of you guys. Thank you very much for subscribing to our channel.
Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about how to find a job in Australia. As you guys know that this is a big topic in itself, so what we have decided is to divide this topic into 3 different videos, as you can see on the screen, that what you should do before you arrive in Australia, what you should do when you arrive in Australia, and how you can shape your career from there on. But this specific video is focusing on the first one, that is before you arrive in Australia.
And soon after we'll cover the rest of the videos.
So without further ado, let's get started with the first one.
So if you are watching this video, I assume that you are a very smart person who want to do things before they even land in Australia. And this video is absolutely gonna be that video. In this video, we're gonna cover a few things that you must do before you arrive in Australia for your job.
This actually isn't a exhaustive list, but these what we think based on our experiences the most important things which you can do even before landing in Australia.
So the first and foremost thing that I'm gonna cover here would be the resume, and I believe every subscriber of Ustad knows how to make a resume, so I'm not gonna teach you how to make a resume, but I'm gonna tell you the nitty-gritty gray areas of Australian resume which is probably not known. So hey guys, this is a list of few things that we would recommend you to have a look up on, and this is for your information. It will give you a basic idea of all the things that you should change in your resume, but it is not a whole document in itself. We would recommend each and every one of you to research on the internet about the Australian specific resume things. So here's a list of few items.
So first thing I would like to recommend is to highlight your visa type. So if you have a permanent residency visa, so there are more chances you'll get a job in comparison to one who's having a student visa. So in Australian market, there's no discrimination based on age, so you're not required to put your age on your resume.
So back in your country, you might be putting in roles and responsibilities, but here in Australia, more emphasis is given on achievements. By putting in your achievements, you can tell the employer how good you are in comparison with the other candidates that are applying for this position. And it is also recommended you quantify these achievements, like if you have saved $10 million of the company, we would like to put this 10 million figures in the resume instead of just putting in saved. Coming on to the next point, it's removing the technical words that are specifically related to your country. So let's say in India we have Reserve Bank of India, but here in Australia nobody knows what Reserve Bank of India is. So it is important that you generalize these things so that the Australians can understand these.
Okay, moving on to the next point, it is also advisable to give a little bit of description of the companies that you have worked for.
Let's say, for example, you have worked in a very big bank of your country, and it was the 4th largest bank of your country. But here in Australia, nobody knows about that. You need to show it in your resume. How would you show that? Now, coming on to the most important one, which I saved for the last. It is the Pandora's box for the HR. We are talking about a software which is named as ATS here. What this software does is that basically it compares a job description with the resume of a person. So if the compatibility score is higher, your resume would be reviewed by the recruiter. But if the compatibility score is less, the recruiter will not even have a look at the resume, because here in Australia for a single job there is like 2,000 applicants. And the HR here don't want to spend too much time, so they have come up with this software and they use it to filter out the candidates. We advise for every job opening, you should have a look at the job description, take out the important keywords from that job description and then put them into your resume so that your resume would be an ATS proof and it can flow through the recruiter instead of getting rejected by the software.
Now moving on to the next slide. Okay, to start with, we need to pimp up our LinkedIn account.
By pimp up, we don't mean that you put a photo of your girlfriend along with you kissing you. We mean a professional photo.
As we all know, LinkedIn is a social platform for professional network. But how many of us do actually have a professional profile there?
So you should ensure that your LinkedIn profile is absolutely updated and is almost identical as your resume, because your LinkedIn profile is gonna be your resume here for the consultants and for the HRs who are looking at your profile. And once you have completed your profile, we will recommend you to ask for recommendation from your colleagues and from your past employers.
So just to take it one step further, what you can do in your LinkedIn profile, you can add your achievements and also the projects you have worked in your previous organization. This actually adds volume to your resume and make you different from the other candidates. So after updating your LinkedIn profile, it's always important to expand your network in LinkedIn. So what you can do is look for the recruiters and the consultants in the field where you are looking to get a job.
As LinkedIn is quite popular in Australia, there's a chance that you might find people of the same background, universities, colleges, or institute here in Australia. By looking at their profile, you can find out what they are doing in Australia and how their career is shaping up. You can also add them, and don't be shy of sending messages to them in case you have any doubts, because out of 10 guys, 4 or 5 persons might reply back to your question. So don't be shy of sending the messages to them. You can also add HR managers of your current organizations that are here in Australia and might help you in getting a job in your same organization but in Australia. After all these things, create a job alert which will give you an insight of the jobs that are presently open and you can apply for.
So once you're done with your resume and your LinkedIn profile, you can now start with applying for numerous jobs. So on the screen you can see the list of websites which are very popular here in Australia. Seek.com is the biggest of them all. But as a new migrant, I would recommend you guys to go straight into company's career section and apply job directly. And the reason I'm saying this is because most of the consultants are looking for the candidates with the local experience. One of the websites I would like to mention here is applydirect.com. On this website, you'll find all the job openings which are coming directly from the company's HR.
You might be noticing that the Gumtree has been highlighted in red color and been stricken off by us. The reason for that is most of the jobs in Gumtree are fake.
Moving on to the next slide. This might look obvious,
but I didn't do it. I had my relatives living here in Australia, but I didn't contacted them. Just because I didn't want it to, because I wanted to do something on my own. But when I came here in Australia, I noticed that 70% of jobs are not advertised. It's based on recommendations. So learning from my mistakes, I would advise all of you to contact your family, friends and relatives that are already living here in Australia, and they can help you in giving the local insights that's the things that is not available on the internet.
So when we were deciding to move to Australia, the biggest confusion we had is to choose in between Sydney and...
So we decided that on the basis of opportunities on the job portals, we saw that Sydney had the most job openings in comparison with any other part of Australia. So we chose Sydney. And you can also visit these job portals to find out which portion or which part of Australia is best for you. If you are from a finance background, probably Sydney or Melbourne is best for you. But if you are from mining, I think you will find most vacancies in Perth. So if you are a wildlife photographer, probably Tasmania is the best place for you. So search and decide.
Moving on to the next one. When you're trying to penetrate a new job market, it is always advisable to have some local education. In some profession, it is mandatory to have a new certification which is recognized by the local government.
Moving on to the next one, which is arranging meeting before. In the event that your profession is in highly demand in Australia, there is a slight chance that the consultant or the company would be happy to take your interview on the basis of your flight dates. So in case you are going through an interview and you're still not in Australia, you can tell them your tentative fly-in details and schedule the interview accordingly.
So moving on to the last slide. It is the preparation of interview in advance. Although you guys might not have an interview while you are in your own country, but I would recommend to research a lot about how the interview gets conducted here in Australia. Here are the few of the pointers which I would like to emphasize upon. The first one is to get a brief knowledge of the Australian working environment.
Although all of you must be aware of the salary that's there in Australia, but if in case you didn't notice, just please check the salary that you are eligible for. There are guides from the consultants which will help you in understanding how much salary you are eligible for. So in case you are up for an interview, you should know how much you should ask for.
And during the interviews, the kind of questions the interviewer asks is more towards the behavioral side rather than the technical ones. So lastly, I would suggest you to research a lot about the behavioral questions, because most of us are good in technical side but not good in the behavioral questions.
So guys, this is pretty much it for the first video. I hope you will like this video and stay tuned. Subscribe for the next upcoming videos.
This is Team Utsad signing off.
And for a guy who lost his boner because of our accent, we are really sorry, and I do apologize. I'm gonna link a video for him and hope that he will like it.